Well, it's my first DLC truck review, so welcome back to the channel everybody. My name is Nathan, and today we're going to review a truck that's a paid DLC vehicle and has a lot of similarities to a vehicle I reviewed a long time ago, and you'll see those comparisons throughout the video as well. So, without further ado, here is the GMC Brigadier 8000. Hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you like the channel and its content, please consider liking, subscribing, commenting, and please share the video as well. So, let's get into this. Roll the tape. The GMC Brigadier 8000 was produced by General Motors from 1978 to 1989 and placed in GMC's heavy-duty Class 7 and Class 8. This truck had different motor options like the standard GMC V6, V8, Cummins, Detroit diesel, and also Caterpillar diesel engines. With General Motors' new evolving features, the truck line ended in 1989. The Brigadier and SnowRunner was initially introduced as a highway truck, then moved to the heavy-duty category. Both of the GMC trucks in-game have similar performance values when it comes to off-roading. In this review, the same routes and tests will be used to compare both the Brigadier and the MH9500. So before we jump into this comparison with the traditional pros and cons, let's check out the base stats. The GMC Brigadier 8000 is classified as a heavy-duty truck. It weighs 6.06 tons. In its stock configuration, it boasts a power to weight of A+, a durability of B+, fuel consumption B+, fuel capacity is 76 gallons, comes with a stock suspension. Its tires also come stock with a 39-inch highway tire. Its all-wheel drive is capable, and its diff lock is capable as well. Alright, let's dive into the pros and cons of the GMC Brigadier 8000. As always, bad news first, so coming in at the number one downside, it's somewhat tippy. Upon testing the balance of this vehicle, there were some mixed feelings on determining whether or not this was a stable truck. The vehicle seems to have its weight distribution balanced pretty well. However, it feels extremely prone to tipping with semi-trailers attached, but somewhat stable without any attachments at all. It's not as tippy as the Fleet Star or the MH9500, but it's not as stable as the Kodiak or White Western Star 4964. Removing the suspension upgrade would help this, but it would also negatively affect its off-road performance too much. Because of this, I don't feel I can trust the GMC stability on uneven surfaces with cargo loads. Just be aware that you might have to use the quick winch feature to save you every now and then. Downside number 2, small tires. It's really no surprise that the American small tire trend continues with the GMC as well. I must mention that it does have larger tires than the Fleet Star and the Kodiak C70, but 1-inch smaller tires than the GMC MH9500. This downside shows in its performance value against the MH9500 while hauling the oil drill semi-trailer. As usual, this truck does not have an option for the mud tire as well. The MH9500 seemed to take deep mud a little bit better, but I believe our next downside attributes to its struggles in harsh areas as well. Downside number 3, wheel spin and weight. The GMC has an upgraded version of the engine that's currently mounted in the GMC MH9500, and we'll discuss that a little bit later. Due to its low weight and high power, it tends to wheel spin a lot. I believe the MH9500 and the Brigadier weigh exactly the same due to the same power to weight with every shared engine except for the last upgrade. Throughout the video, you'll see the Brigadier throwing mud all over the place until I decide to downshift. In those deep muddy areas, Low Plus seems to have too much wheel spin as well. Because this vehicle is balanced more toward power and less weight, it tends to struggle with grip as shown on the Smithfield Dam hill climb. Downside number 4, long frame and fuel tank clearance. The Brigadier has a respectable ground clearance, yet it has large, low-hanging fuel tanks that tend to drag in deep areas or just get caught up. Like the International Fleet Star, its long frame will sometimes contact semi-trailers when hauling as well. When this happens, the front end of the truck is lifted up and you lose steering control due to no front axle contact on the driving surface. The Kodiak C70, Fleet Star, and GMC MH9500 are other trucks that have this issue as well. My driving skills were definitely put to the test here from trying to keep the truck's nose on course while traversing steep inclines. I now remember why I didn't have any semi-trailer footage in my International Fleet Star video. To wrap this up, for these reasons, I do not recommend semi-trailers on steep areas. Downside number 5, range. With SnowRunner's large new maps, range is starting to have more value to drivers. I believe they are starting to see that economy is just as important as the revered power-to-weight rating. The Brigadier 8000 has a decent-sized 76-gallon fuel tank, but I'm afraid its Westline V6 engine is rather thirsty. I feel as though even when the vehicle isn't under heavy load, it still has below average to poor consumption at times. By now, we all know what this means. Coordinate mobile tankers or plan fuel station stops more often. Downside number 6, level requirement upgrades. So I need to correct what I said in my CAT CT680 review. Most of the DLC trucks have level requirements for some of their upgrades. Along with the standard level requirements for tires and winch, you're also waiting for the race suspension upgrade and the all-wheel drive and diff lock features. This is a downside because you have to level up to be able to fully unlock a paid DLC truck's potential. And finally, coming in at the number 7 downside, paid DLC and better options. Due to our number 6 downside, it leads up to noticing that there are just better options in the beginning. If you have purchased DLC content, there are capable vehicles that are available right from the start. Trucks like the Tatra T813 and the KRS Bandit have capabilities to use all-wheel drive and diff lock from the start, if you have the DLC content. Also, the OG Fleet Star is more capable due to finding its all-wheel drive upgrade upon discovering the vehicle itself. If we think about this rationally, it's hard to justify using a vehicle that has 0 upgrades opposed to a vehicle that gets 80% of its upgrades within the first map of the game. I have to say those were some pretty rough downsides, but hopefully we can shed some light on its good qualities. Here are the pros for the GMC Brigadier 8000. Coming in at upside number 1, power. Something that stands out right off the bat about this vehicle is its power to weight. As mentioned earlier, the GMC has an exclusive Westline V6 engine. The MH9500 has a less powerful Westline variant, and both trucks share the same stock engines and middle upgrade engines as well. The Brigadier's exclusive engine gives it enough power to sustain high gear under heavy loads, and tends to shift to higher gears more than the MH9500. It honestly feels like the power that the BM17 engine puts out, and also it has a really cool engine sound. Upside number 2, ground clearance. Despite having large fuel tanks that tend to hang low, the GMC has a really good ground clearance with its race suspension kit. It also has a tuned custom kit that gives it a little bit more ground clearance as well. Being that the vehicle has small tires, the tuned custom suspension is needed to elevate parts of the vehicle away from the driving surface. Currently, this is the only paid DLC vehicle with a tuned custom suspension, which gets it somewhat close to Kodiak C70 ground clearance levels. So with all that being said, just be aware that you're going to have to wait for driver level requirements. Upside number 3, switchable all-wheel drive and diff lock. Like our number 2 upside, there's a level requirement for acquiring these powerful yet needed upgrades. Once you get them though, this vehicle performs like the MH9500 and some mid-tier off-road trucks. The differential locking option will help mitigate the wheel spin issues by slowing everything down. Also, the switchable features are nice options for fuel savings on light areas and more capability in deep areas. Upside number 4, utility. The GMC has good utility, being able to pretty much use every add-on the game has to offer. Just like the MH9500, it can also use a small crane, sideboard bed, and attach a hitch trailer. This vehicle also has a somewhat short snorkel, but it works well, and the height of the vehicle helps keep from drowning the vehicle when it crosses water. And finally, coming in at the number 5 upside, it's the most durable heavy-duty truck. SnowRunner as of late seems to beat trucks down with damage hits, but the GMC actually seems pretty darn tanky. Now, I wouldn't say that its durability is on the off-road or heavy truck levels, but its damage tolerances are among the highest in the heavy-duty class. This might not seem like a big deal, but a durable truck goes a long way, especially on the new developer's hardcore mode. Alright, so moving on to my personal ratings for this truck. For power, I gave it a 4 due to the GMC having an upgraded exclusive Westline V6 engine. For terrain navigation, I felt a 3 was fair. I debated on making it a 2 due to wheel spin and light vehicle weight, but it navigates as well as the MH9500. Due to the power, switchable all-wheel drive and diff lock, but the lack of those features until a higher driver level merits a ranking of 1. I feel new drivers would struggle to use this vehicle without any upgrades at the start of the game. For aesthetics, I love the large grille and the overall American look. An easy 4 here. The vehicle's stability seems sporadic and I'm not quite sure if I can trust its balance after testing, so I think a rating of 2 is good. Due to the lack of fuel efficiency but decent tank size, I felt a 2 was a good score. The vehicle just felt thirsty like the MH9500. For utility, a rating of 5 is a no-brainer here. This truck can basically use everything in the game. The vehicle lacks weight, has small tires, and no mud tire option as well. Because of this, it suffers with grip, a rating of 2 for sure. So in conclusion, I think for new players under the driver level of 15, this vehicle is a letdown due to waiting for features that make this vehicle capable. For drivers who are above level 15, I feel as though it's similar to the MH9500. They both perform about the same despite the Brigadier having a more powerful engine. I haven't found details on the vehicle's weight, but I feel they are coded in the same weight, stability, and power until the Brigadier equips its special engine. I actually really like driving the GMC, and I feel it can compete with other DLC trucks and some of the lower to mid-tier off-road class trucks. Despite having some daunting downsides, I have to admit I'm really glad at least one of these new American DLC trucks have a race suspension kit. My biggest issues with the Brigadier is simple. Its fuel consumption, its weight, its wheel spin, and it also struggles with heavy semi-trailers. I really love the low saddle option for hauling, but the GMC is not well suited for it. Throughout my test, it was really difficult trying to keep my front axle on the ground for the purpose of steering. Between the MH9500 and the Brigadier, I would choose the Brigadier due to its power. I feel the MH9500 went through mud slightly better in some areas, but it just didn't have the oomph like the Brigadier does. I have to admit I didn't go into the detail that I wanted to for sake of keeping the video short, but if you catch me on stream and have questions, I would love to answer them and elaborate as well. So overall, I think it's a good truck that has some issues, but good decision making and good driving will handle that. Try it out and let me know what you think. I hope this review gave you a fresh new perspective of the GMC Brigadier 8000. Please smash the like button. Definitely share this video with someone who is struggling with the game, and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss any future content. Hope y'all have a wonderful day, God bless, and stay upright.